we've talked in the past about Call of Duty Ghosts, guys, this, sub-series and the overall franchise of Call of Duty. And more in particular, we've been talking about Ghosts 2, the hopes and the amount of people that want this game made, a sequel to Call of Duty Ghosts, is actually pretty staggering. The amount of people that have reached out to me on social media as well as on YouTube. And, granted, that's just a portion of people who absolutely want to see a continuation. Now, of course, on the flip side of that, there's always going to be people who don't want to see a continuation of Ghosts and they want to see the franchise go in other directions. But in this segment of the show, we're going to talk about Call of Duty Ghosts 2 and the top 5 things that we want to see in Call of Duty Ghosts 2. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to be bringing up, my personal opinions, which some of those you may very well agree with. But for those of you who don't agree with those opinions and my top 5, I'd love to hear your top 5 things you'd like to see in Call of Duty Ghosts 2 in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So as I said, guys, Call of Duty Ghosts 2 has, at this point, we haven't seen a continuation of it, and it's obviously not as popular at this point to like Call of Duty Black Ops, that sub-series, as well as Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And obviously, guys, there's a real belief here that we're just going to be getting, Call of Duty Black Ops and Modern Warfare kind of back and forth now. They're going to kind of alternate every single year. And with that, I don't know if that's something I'm going to be buying, at least at this point, but I do think that there is rumblings and there's talk that people definitely want a Call of Duty Ghosts 2, at least to have like a sequel to see what happens from a story perspective and continuation of some of the things that they did right and did well in Call of Duty Ghosts. So with that, guys, at number 1, the number 1 thing I want them to do in Call of Duty Ghosts 2 is to continue right where Ghosts 1 left off as far as from a story perspective. Look, guys, talk about a cliffhanger. It was one of the biggest cliffhangers in the entire Call of Duty franchise. And I gotta say, guys, that I want to see what happens. I want to see the continuation of Call of Duty Ghosts from a campaign perspective more than anything else. I think it's really important that they, continue that and show us kind of what happens, tie up some loose ends. And sure, even if this is the last one, I'd like to at least see the continuation from a campaign perspective, because the story, to be quite honest with you guys, I thought the story of Call of Duty Ghosts was really good. I really liked the campaign overall, the pacing, the characters, and things of that nature. It's in other areas that I didn't like the game as much as other games in the series, that being like Black Ops and, Modern Warfare. But nonetheless, number 1, guys, is I just want to see a continuation from where Ghosts 1 left off from a story perspective. At number 2, guys, I want to see Extinction 2.0. Another way in which this franchise, or this sub-series, I should say, did evolve the franchise as a whole in one way, shape or form, one of those being Extinction. Guys, there's a couple reasons why Extinction, to me, was way better than Zombies, and I'll give you why. I'll say this. Zombies has grown on me more and more as the series has progressed, that being Call of Duty. However, Extinction, I loved the concept of being able to play something with your friends or by yourself, and you could actually beat it. I really like that concept, whereas obviously with Zombies, guys, it's just, basically never ending, and it just gets so difficult that you end up, ultimately losing at some point or another. You have to start all over again. I love the concept in Extinction where, you basically could beat it, and I would love to see, I think with the Call of Duty Ghosts 2, I want to see that, but elevated. I'd like to see them have more than just like one mission that you're going up against these alien creatures. And that was the other thing I really liked. I liked how it was different. It was like these aliens, and they were, different from the zombies, right, that you get in Call of Duty Zombies. And so I really liked the concept of Extinction, and it's just my personal opinion, guys. I liked Extinction, and I've liked Extinction more than Zombies, and I'd like to see Extinction 2.0, and I think that could be something special. At number 3, guys, for me, obviously bringing back the multiplayer, the co-op modes, which we'll get to kind of more in depth here, what I want to see from those. But I think adding on to, as far as an experience would be Battle Royale. Look, guys, no matter what you think of BR, whether you think that it's becoming oversaturated at this point, it's being, pretty much overdone, amongst many of the AAA titles out there, it doesn't get around, it doesn't kind of, discredit what has been built as of right now. I mean, look, you got Call of Duty Blackout, right, that came out. And Blackout did pretty well, right? For a first BR, in the, as far as from a Call of Duty perspective, it did pretty well. But I think that it was kind of overshadowed by like Apex and Fortnite. And it took, one title to really get it to its footing. And then with Warzone coming out with Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Warzone, guys, has taken it up an entire notch because of the free-to-play element, and I think just it's a really fun experience. And so I think now Activision, Infinity Ward, and even Treyarch are starting to get it down. They're starting to figure out, okay, this is what we got to do in order to like bring people back to Warzone. And so for me, at least, I want to see Ghosts in a BR setting. So I think that would be really cool as well. Have BR on top of multiplayer as well as co-op. Continue the traditions of what they're doing right now with, Call of Duty Blackout, Call of Duty Warzone. Make a BR for Ghosts. And I think it could be pretty good. I mean, it's hard to say, guys, exactly what it would look like and such. But I got to say, I wouldn't mind having a BR in the Ghosts universe. Why not? And then coming in, guys, at number 4 for me, this is something that I've really wanted, and one thing that I really felt dragged this, Ghost 1 down was the different weapons. Some of the weapons were good, and some of the maps were good, but overall, I found that most of the weapons and most of the, maps I didn't really like. I think Strikedown was my favorite map, guys, and it wasn't even close. And as far as the weapons are concerned, I couldn't even tell you which was my favorite weapon because I didn't really like any particular one. And you guys, for those of you who know me, as far as my history goes, I love sniper rifles when it comes to the Call of Duty series and just really video games in general. I love, the sniper rifles. I love trick shotting in Call of Duty. I love sniping in Call of Duty. And Ghost, I just thought had some very weak sniper rifles in particular, but even other guns as well. Now, there obviously is an argument that there were some of the SMGs, some of the LMGs, or some of, the shotguns were decent, but I just didn't really like a lot of the weapons in Call of Duty Ghost. So with Ghost 2, I'd like to see them really up their game here when it comes to the weapons, as well, of course, the sniper rifles, and the maps, of course, as well. Bringing back maps like Strikedown, I would love to see that, of course, but I would really like to see some new kind of fleshed out maps. I think that one of the things was the color grading for Call of Duty Ghosts was a little bit off to me as well. It was kind of like a sandy kind of color palette, and I'm not saying that was a bad thing, but sometimes it would kind of throw you off. Sometimes it wasn't, it didn't look graphically, beautiful or great at certain times in certain maps. So I think I'd like to have a different kind of take on like the color palette and such that they would use in Call of Duty Ghosts too. But that's more minor than the overarching, better maps, better weapons as a whole. And then coming in at number 5, guys, this also has to do with multiplayer. I think one thing that's really important is having, earnable items over that of things that you can buy as far as microtransactions are concerned. And I've said this on ad nauseum at this point, but I believe Call of Duty, when it was at its best, was when there were more earnable items than anything, because that's what really built this community, in my opinion. The 10th Prestige in the 10th Prestige Medallion in MW2, the 15th Prestige in Black Ops 1, Prestige Master in BO2, earning those and getting up to that was one thing, and then trying to earn all of the, the different emblems and titles and all the different, things that go into that game. It showed off how much time you were putting into the game. And so I think personally having more earnable items, and then of course customizable items as well, is something that would be really cool as well. We've been seeing that now with, recent Call of Duties, more ways to customize your character and, the different skins on your gun and things of that nature. But I really want to see more earnable items than microtransactions. If you're going to have microtransactions, have it in the BR setting, because if it's free to play, it gives it more reason for people to put money towards it because it's free to play. But when we're talking about the multiplayer and all of that, I would much rather have it be a feel more traditional to Call of Duty, where you're earning things, and that way when you're in that leaderboard or you're in that, in-game lobby and you see other people, you can kind of see their progress, what rank they are, and those things mean something, because it's felt like for a while now it doesn't mean much. The prestige emblems and stuff don't look as cool as they used to be, and the ranks and such and the emblems and some of the titles, they look a little bit too flashy. They don't look that great. I think it needs to go back to something that's very basic, kind of standard, and something that people will, obviously kind of look at and think to themselves, I want to earn that at some point or another throughout the course of my career playing, Call of Duty Ghosts 2. But those are all things, guys, that I would love to see and I want in Call of Duty Ghosts 2. Let me know in the comment section below what it is you guys want. And for more Call of Duty Ghosts 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.